everybody, this is going to be a quick video about web scraping to a database, and in particular we're going to be looking at using time, why capture time, how do we use time, and I'm going to show how to do a bit of housekeeping with your tables afterwards, because you may have temporary tables or you may call them staging tables, and you don't want them to fill up your database or your customers' clients' database. So, and I don't know where it's gone, but it's going to pop up on the screen sometime soon, I hope. No, okay. Right, time since epoch. What we're doing is we're going to be using time since the epoch as a value for a record. So as we make our records, we're going to make all of the records for a given scrape equal to the number of seconds since the start of the epoch. And if you want to look up the epoch and what it is, it's the number of seconds since January the 1st, 1970. And we're just going to use that with Python. So to do that with Python, I'm going to show you this. Here it is. Self-promotional banner. And let's fire up Python. I've set an alias on this so that Python actually equals Python 3, so I only have to type Python now. Oh, I tell a lie. No, I haven't. I thought I had. I'll do that later. So Python 3, and then we want import time. It is full screen for you. And let's set a variable. So x equals, here we go. So it's time dot time parentheses. Nothing very exciting yet, but if we do print x, there we go. And that is probably quite similar to what we just saw on the web page. If I run it again, what do you think we'll get? Do you think we'll get a new number, or do you think it will be the same? Any guesses? Yes, the same. So what you need to do is you need to run that again and then print it again. And you can see it's changed. So there it was 703 and there it's 734. So that's when I ran it 30 seconds later approximately. So that's all fine, but what we want really is x. Let's do print. Let's just turn it into an integer because we don't really care about the hundredths of the seconds, so let's just mess. And there we go. So there you can see that's the number of seconds as an integer, which is exactly what we want for what we're about to do. So we're going to capture a bunch of records whilst web scraping, and we're going to give all of those records this number. Well, the number which is a result of time.time. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so the bright spark who designed this PowerPoint graphic forgot that there was going to be me over the top of it. What that says is new responses compared to previous response. So if you're web scraping and you want to know, this would be very useful if you're not necessarily price comparison, well, something you're doing on a high frequency. I don't know if it would be relevant for financial stuff, but if certain prices are changing quite frequently by the second, betting odds for instance, you could keep scraping betting odds, prices even on stuff that changes price very frequently. Right, we've got temp, prev, invoice. Now the interesting one on this video, or that I think is interesting, is prev, P-R-E-V, and that's why time is relevant. So what we're doing is every time we perform a scrape, we're putting, I'm going to keep saying 50 here because it's a nice dividable round number. So we'll put 50, right, that wasn't supposed to happen. Give me a second. Sorry about that. I thought I'd leave that in just for lols. Where were we? I was talking about the previous table. So web scraping, high frequency, price fluctuations. And you can see I've just quickly edited the graphic as well. Previous response, 50, you get 50 results. In a few minutes time you get 50 more. A few minutes later, 50 more. And you always want to be comparing. Or even if you're checking, say for instance, a payment site that's going to release some money to you, you want to keep checking to see if your claim has been processed. And if you check it now, you want to compare against the previous time you checked it. You don't care, you don't want to compare it against 2 months ago. You just want to see if it's changed since you last logged in. This is where previous table is important. What happens is it uses the time based on the number of seconds since the epoch, and what I'm doing here is I'm assigning time.time to my variable, and then it's going to belong to the instance, and it's number of seconds since 1970. And this is what we're doing with the SQL side of things. So once it's gone into the table, which is select, insert, blah de blah, your standard insert, execute and all that, we're going to have temp, well, previous is not really temporary, it's I'll call it storage table. And I'm going to have, what I always want is 50 results from the last scrape, 50 results from this scrape, and I want to see if any of those have changed. So select count distinct MSE, that's my column name, from prev, which is my table name. Then you can see under no column name here, it's found 3. So what that's finding is how many distinct sets of scrapes there are, and each set of scrapes all has the same time in seconds since the start of the epoch. Then that enables me to do some housekeeping, which is to maintain the previous table with only ever having the current set of data and the previous set of data. And it's going to keep recycling those two, so they're always going to be the two most recent, and the third oldest lot of data will then get deleted. So what I'm doing is delete from prev where MSE equals, and then I'm going to select where MSE, so that's the time in seconds since the epoch, and then it's going to delete those from the table. So there you go. The other thing I was going to mention was database management software. So Raspberry Pi, you may or may not have seen me using PHP MyAdmin, which I think is great for what I need to do. If you want something with a few more features, should we say, and it's also free, Azure Studio, made by a company from Seattle who invented Windows. What was I going to say? What it has got, it's got a built-in version of something called Notebook, and it's SQL Notebook. So it is to SQL what Pandas is to what Jupyter is to Pandas, and it's really good. Well, I think it's really good. Whether you would need it if you're just tinkering, if you're just working with MySQL, that's another question. But the other thing I just wanted to say about databases is, coming from network engineering background, which is becoming a distant memory. IP addresses. How do you store an IP address in a database? It's in dotted decimal notation, so 192.168.1.254. I think from reading recently, Postgres has actually got a data type for that. So if you're doing anything with IP addresses, Postgres is worth a look. And yeah, that's it for now. I'll be back with something else very soon, but if you want, check out Azure Studio. It's free. And if you ever have to do any work for a customer, then you can kind of download it for free. You can import their data and work on their data offline and off premises. And it's really good because you can write your own queries. You can assemble all of the queries in the notebook as well. So it saves you having to save individual queries, and you can run them in front of your very eyes, as I have done here. So yeah, to summarize, time since epoch, select count distinct and delete from, and then you select to get the groups. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and if there's any ideas, suggestions for any other videos, then please let me know, and in the meantime, have a nice day.